Welcome to day 10 of our study through the Bible here in community, here on YouTube, where we're going to be in yesterday's assignment through Genesis 7. This is People of the Free Gift, where we ground believers in their identity in Christ and equip them to reach those caught in religion. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of our future content where we study chapter by chapter together in community here on YouTube. And if you'd like to go back to day 1 of this study, you can go to the cards or to the description down below and go look for the playlist Study Through the Bible. And so let's go ahead and jump in. Yesterday's assignment was read Genesis 7, mark every reference to time, and also marked every reference to Noah and to the ark. Make a list of all you learn regarding the ark. And so in my notes, I marked Noah in red, time in blue, and ark in green. And so here's some of the things that I found from my study. And it says, and the Lord said to Noah, so God's talking to Noah, which is kind of generally reserved for prophets in the Old Testament. And so you got Noah kind of being a prophet. And so come, you and your house, into the ark, for you have I seen righteous before me in this generation. Okay? And so Noah is called into the ark. He's called to build an ark. And of every clean beast you shall take to you by sevens, the male and a female, and of beasts that are not clean by two, the male and the female. So if you're confused, because in Genesis 6, he mentioned two, the male and the female of every animal. But if he says, if somebody said to you, I want at least two of every animal, but I want at least seven of this kind of animal, would it still not be true that you're going to have at least two of every animal? That's what's going on here. This isn't a contradiction. It isn't different accounts. There's 7 of every clean animal, 2 of every unclean animal. Okay, and notice that word unclean is kind of weird because the Levitical law has not been put in motion as of yet. That's something that's coming on Mount Sinai between God and Israel, but you still have this concept of clean and unclean animals. And that's going to become important after the flood, because then after the flood, God's going to actually allow them to start eating animals, which is another huge difference in the creation that the flood makes, pre-flood and post-flood. Okay, so just to clear that up, and so going on with Noah, Noah did according to unto all the Lord had commanded him. Noah was 600 years old when the flood waters were upon the earth. And Noah went in, his sons, his wife, his sons' wives with them into the ark because of the waters of the flood. And clean beasts and beasts that are not clean, and fowls of every clean thing that creepeth upon the earth, there went in two unto Noah into the ark, the male and the female, as God had commanded Noah. And so some people have kind of mocked and saying, like, well, how is Noah supposed to go all over the earth and gather up, all these animals? God called the animals. He brought them into the ark. Okay, this wasn't like, Noah and his family were building the ark, but that was their role. God brought unto him what he needed in order to do this. So if God's able to do, if he's able to create the heavens and the earth, he's able to bring and gather all of his creation into the ark. Okay. And so Noah goes in, and his sons' wives into, and because of the waters of the flood, so the waters have come, and God brings all of the animals to them. They board onto the ark. And so then you've got, in the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, the 17th day of the month, the same day, where all the fountains of the great deep broken up and the windows of heaven were opened. And so this is the language that says it's not just rain we're talking about. A lot of people have this concept of the flood that is just, like a little trickle here, there, rain, or maybe heavy rain that's falling for 40 days. And they're thinking, how in the world could that make such a mess here? But it says the windows of heaven were opened up. And you might remember in Genesis 1, God separated the waters above, the heavens from those under the heavens. So there's waters that were above the heavens prior to this, okay? But the windows of heaven were opened up, so you got those waters that are coming, and then you also have the fountains of the deep. So that's in the bottom of the ocean, so like we're like a volcanic type of activity that's going on, and so you have huge catastrophic things that are going on, not just a little bit of rain, okay? So that hope that clears that up. And so the rain was upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. In the self-same way entered Noah and Shem, Ham, and Japheth, the sons of Noah, and Noah's wives, and 3 wives of his sons with them into the ark. They and every beast after his kind, and all the cattle after their kind, every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth after his kind, every fowl after his kind, every bird of every sort. I emphasize that the way that the Bible emphasizes that, because we're not talking species. He didn't say 2 of every species of animal. And even in biological terms, they talk not just in terms of species, but genus and phylum and kingdom. And so we're not talking about 2 golden retrievers. And I'm sure golden retrievers would have to be clean. So it would be, we're not talking about just like golden retrievers. We're talking about the canine family. So, like wolves, coyotes, dogs, all of that is in the same family. And so another thing that people kind of mock is the whole like dinosaur thing. Well, were dinosaurs on the ark with them, and how even the picture that I put on, yesterday's thumbnail, had kind of, mocking that idea. That a dinosaur that's tipping the ark over, and they didn't even have the ark accurately portrayed to begin with. And did you know that the average size of a dinosaur fossil is the size of a chicken? Okay, so if you have 2 or 7 of dinosaur kind that are on the ark, it's very, very feasible, very easy, really, that could happen. Okay, so. They're on the ark with every kind of animal, and they went in, Noah into the ark, and 2 of all flesh, wherein is the breath of life. And they went in male and female of all flesh. God had commanded him, and the Lord shut him in. Okay, so there's the door, but the door handle, the door knob, so to speak, is only from the outside, and it's God who operates the keys. He's the one who shuts and opens the door, and no one can contradict his work. Okay, so you've got God shutting them in to the ark, and to me that speaks of salvation. More to come with that in this week's message. Okay, and the flood was 40 days and 40 nights upon the earth, and water increased and bare upon the ark, and it was lifted above the earth. And the waters prevailed and were increased greatly upon the earth, and the ark went upon the face of the waters. Okay? And so every living substance was destroyed, which is upon the face of the ground, both man and cattle, and the creeping things, and the fowl of heaven. They were destroyed from the earth, and Noah only remained alive, and they that were with him in the ark. And the waters prevailed upon the earth 150 days. So 40 days and 40 nights it rained, and the fountains of the deep, the heavens are opened. 150 days the water stayed on the earth. Okay, so this flood that was going down, slowly over time. And then we're going to read about, as we go on, how they know when the land is dry. The last thing that I want to touch upon before we leave this passage is this. It's really popular nowadays to talk about the flood being local. A couple of things with that. Again, pretty much every culture around the world has some kind of flood narrative that echoes in some way, which I believe is this true narrative of Noah and his family, speaking to the universal ancestry through Noah, speaking to the truth of this account, but also speaking to the global nature of this account. Okay, that's one thing that I would say here. The other is this. The language has to do with covering all of the earth. It has to do with covering higher than the highest mountaintop. And all flesh, in whom is the breath of life. And it says that only Noah was alive and those who were with him on the ark. Only they survived. So those who would say that in spite of all of that language, that this is a local flood and it was only to the ends of the earth as they knew it, are ignoring the language that's used over and over again comprehensively to talk about this event and the catastrophic nature. We're talking that everything about the planet changed after this event. Okay, we're talking the destruction of all of humanity, and you only have 2 of the unclean, 7 of the clean animals that are coming off of the ark. We're talking that God changes the rules and dietary changes. We're talking that now you're able to eat meat. You're talking way shorter lifespans. You're talking about differences in climate all over the earth as a result of this. This is a drastic change. And I would also just say that there's a huge split in geology between those who take an evolutionary standpoint, which basically says that the canyons and the geological strata were formed over millions and millions of years. And you have then basically that somebody left their faucet dripping over that span of time, and you get the Grand Canyon. And then you have the people over here who were saying that no, there is evidence of a catastrophic flood that instantaneously came and created this. And you can see all sorts of stuff in all the different layers, and some of them even going straight up through all these supposed layers. Okay, a lot of times I found that it's really just the perspective that you look at something through, the lenses that you look at something through. You can be looking at the same data, but depending on the lens you're looking through, you'll come to different conclusions. And I find with a lot of the evidence for and against the flood, that's really all it comes down to. So the question is really, who are you going to trust? Are you going to trust God and His Word that hasn't changed? Or are you going to trust science and its word that can't even agree with each other, and it has changed its mind over time? And so I'm just going to throw that out there. If you have questions about this section that I didn't answer, go ahead and throw them in the comments down below. And if you have insights that I didn't share that you would like to share, go ahead and feel free to put those as well, and we can have a good discussion together. I'm going to be picking some of those questions out for the weekly Q&A at the end of the week. And next assignment for day 11 is read Genesis 8 and mark every reference to time and to Noah and list what you learn regarding Noah. And so similar to what you did today, but you're just going to be in Genesis 8. And so we will catch you back here tomorrow. Remember to subscribe to the channel, enable notifications. Give us the thumbs up on this video if you like the content, and help by sharing this video with people in your life who want to understand the Bible, tried to study it, but have never been successful. Invite them into this community where they can get their question answers, get the tools that they need to be successful in their journey studying the Bible. And let's do it together in community. Until next time, may His favor be with you.